Today's edition of Looking Back at WrestleMania, we're going to take a look at WrestleMania 14. It happened in the year 1998. It was the dawn of the Attitude Era, and the main event was going to be former tag team champions Stone Cold Steve Austin versus the WWF champion Shawn Michaels in the main event, with a special enforcer on the outside to watch over the match in boxing legend Iron Mike Tyson. So today we're going to take a look back at WrestleMania 14. So as you can see here right off the bat, we have this magazine cover with Mike Tyson, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. This is as close as I'm going to get to a WrestleMania 14 program, because I don't even know if they have an actual program. They probably do. I don't think I've ever come across it. But this is the April 1998 WWF magazine. Also, this will be the last time you ever see that WWF logo up there, because after this, they go to the scratch logo on all their magazines. So this is kind of iconic for many reasons then. But let's take a look now at how this came to be. To do so, we have to look at the 1998 Royal Rumble. Yes, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin with nails coming out of his head. But Stone Cold Steve Austin would make history at this event when he won back-to-back Royal Rumbles, the 1997 one and the 1998 one. He eliminated The Rock to get his chance to wrestle in the main event at WrestleMania 14. So there we have it. Stone Cold Steve Austin with his trademark Austin 316 shirt. He's getting ready to do battle against that man right there, the WWF champion Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14. But D-Generation X here had other plans ready to take place instead of Shawn versus Steve, for they tried to make... Wow. Before we get to that, I forgot I put this here. Kane is the reason why Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestles Shawn Michaels. Because The Undertaker had the match won at the Royal Rumble. But his brother Kane came down, put The Undertaker into the casket, and lit it on fire. Thus, Shawn Michaels kind of has to win by default, right? So now it looks like we're going to have two big matches lined up. Michaels and Undertaker, and Kane and The Undertaker. Well, sorry, Michaels and Austin and Kane and The Undertaker. Thinking of late 1997, I think, with Michaels and Undertaker. But this is what I'm talking about. Shawn Michaels wanted so badly to see Mike Tyson wrestle Steve Austin at WrestleMania 14. And I think a lot of the fans may have wanted to see that too. But Vince McMahon was smart. He stuck to his guns on this and wasn't having no celebrity versus wrestler matches at WrestleMania. I think he remembers a WrestleMania 11 a little all too well with the whole Lawrence Taylor Bam Bam Bigelow situation. But it was nice to see that the wrestling magazine of The Wrestler here in May 1998, give us that false hope. Is Mike Tyson going to wrestle Stone Cold Steve Austin? Welcome to hell. There's Kane right there with his manager and I guess his father, Paul Bearer. So Kane is in the WWF, as seen with that last magazine, where he attacked The Undertaker at the Royal Rumble. Kane's gimmick so far has pretty much been causing The Undertaker to lose matches. Kane only had one big match so far, and that was Survivor Series 97 against Mankind. But he debuted at the October Bad Blood in Your House to help Shawn Michaels defeat The Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell. He interfered in the Royal Rumble 1998, like I said, putting Undertaker in the casket, lighting it on fire. I mean, Kane's kind of 2 for 2 here with beating up The Undertaker and causing him not to win. And there he is, The Undertaker, going into WrestleMania against Kane, one-on-one for the first time ever. And honestly, the match wasn't the greatest. I didn't like The Undertaker versus Kane at WrestleMania 14. I don't think I can really think of a match between those two that I really like at all. I mean, they had okay matches, but nothing to me stood out where I had to show someone, you got to see this match. It's Undertaker versus Kane. I know as they went on in the year in 1998, their matches got better. their match in October of 1998 for the vacant WWF title with Stone Cold Steve Austin as the referee. That was pretty cool. I mean, it was a good match and so forth. But, I just never thought that they did well against each other. I liked them better as a tag team. Undertaker, of course, was victorious at WrestleMania. Shocking, I know, right? And there we see it. The June 1998 WWF Magazine. Exclusive WrestleMania 14 results. Stone Cold champion. Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels with a Stone Cold Stunner at WrestleMania 14 to win his first WWF World title. Shawn Michaels was a little angry at Mike Tyson afterwards and confronted him, and Mike Tyson punched Shawn Michaels in the face, who arrogantly chewed gum while pretending to be knocked out from it. That's Shawn for you. But Steve Austin ripped off that DX shirt on Mike Tyson, and the Austin 316 shirt was a much more suited shirt for Iron Mike. And who could forget some great promos after the event with Mike Tyson, where he finally got Stone Cold's name right. It wasn't Cold Stone Steve Austin, it was Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was also the event where Shawn Michaels made a big to-do coming in and creating some ruckus in the in that room of reporters and interviews and such. So, because Shawn was done. Shawn was headed home. And here we see the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Supercards 98. August of 98, we have the showing of the ECW Living Dangerously. We see WCW Super Brawl, and of course, WWF WrestleMania 14. So everything's in that magazine. If you want to see full colors and articles and stories about the three events, they're in Supercards 98, August 1998 for Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Oh, come on, stand up there, Inside Wrestling. There we go. Inside Wrestling, August 1998, WrestleMania 14, the real winners and losers. So this takes a deeper look into WrestleMania itself, talking about the winners, the losers, who really should have won, or who was like the real loser in the situation. The real winner, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. For some reason, the real loser, Mark Marrow. The real winner, Farouk. You have to, take a look inside the magazine to see why all these things are being said. And it's a nice little look at WrestleMania 14 with no other distractions of other events that are happening at the moment. Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He is now the leader of Degeneration X because Shawn Michaels, he went home. He's gone. He won't be seen until like June or July when he returns just to kind of be, I think it's July he returned. But he only returned to do commentary and such. He wasn't back to wrestle. And he was just kind of like there. And then he ended up, becoming the commissioner as time went on. But Hunter Hearst Helmsley now is the leader of Degeneration X. And the night after WrestleMania 14, the European champion went in the ring to declare that he's creating a DX army. And the first person him and China chose to join that army? Well, it wasn't them. Those are the New Age Outlaws. They were victorious at WrestleMania, retaining the tag team titles, though. But they would join DX that night to go aside this man, the return of X-Pac. Wow, the return of the 1-2-3 Kid. He's now known as X-Pac, right? So, Sean Waltman, X-Pac, comes to the WWF, does this amazing shoot promo on Eric Bischoff, on Hollywood Hogan, on Nash and Hall, on WCW, and everything in between. And it gets a lot of people talking. I mean, wasn't that the fun thing about the Attitude Era too early on and the whole Monday Night War thing? It wasn't so much about, the wrestling. It was more so about like the backstage craziness and the real life scenarios that are coming place on TV in front of your very eyes. We all knew that Sean Waltman got fired from WCW. Verse 6 was no longer there. He was gone. And Kevin Nash, he made sure to talk about that as frequent as he could on episodes of WCW Monday Nitro, even wearing the old NWO shirt with the 6 ball on the back of it, right? Showing, hey, we miss 6. We miss our buddy. So Vince McMahon brought him back to the WWF. He came out on Monday Night Raw, and what happened next was the DX Army. That's right. Degeneration X was now a stable. And what a stable it was, right? The tag team champions, the European champion, Hunter Hearst Helmsley in China. Hunter, of course, would go on to lose the European title to D'Lo Brown, but in return would win the Intercontinental title. and X-Pac would take the European title from D'Lo Brown, thus creating all 4 members of D-Generation X to hold championship gold. That would be the only time in D-Generation X's history where all 4 men held a championship at the same time. And that happened in, I believe it would have been September of 1998. Yes, September and October of 98. Those 2 months, the 4 of them were holding all the gold. In 2000, or late 99, it almost happened again, only it was the Outlaws with the tag titles and Triple H with the heavyweight title. X-Pac never did win any gold during that DX Army angle where they were the heels going after the Rock and Sock connection and such. Steve Austin would go on to feud with his former tag team champion partner, Dude Love, for the next few months. And Steve had some bloody, violent matches, some hardcore matches with these guys. And of course, there you see The Undertaker and Mr. McMahon in the background there. That would create for a giant, what do you want to call it, tornado of who's going to wrestle who and when. You had Austin versus Foley. You had Austin versus Taker, Austin versus Kane, Kane versus Taker, Kane versus Foley, Taker versus Foley. It was insane. Those 4 guys really held down the title picture from the night after WrestleMania 14 till, like, I guess, Survivor Series of 98, November. You know, those guys would be in the title picture a lot. If I want to do a quick rundown, the April In Your House, Austin versus Dude Love, and Kane wrestled The Undertaker, right? The May In Your House, Austin wrestled Dude Love with Undertaker and Mr. McMahon there at ringside, and Kane defeated Vader to end that feud. Then the King of the Ring happened. It was Austin versus Kane, where Kane was victorious to win the championship, and Undertaker and Mankind, where Mick Foley went off the cage not once but twice. Then July In Your House, we saw Austin and Undertaker tag up to win the WWF tag titles from Kane and Mankind. Then in SummerSlam, Steve Austin wrestled The Undertaker in the main event at Madison Square Garden in a WWF title match, and Kane and Mankind, well, they split up that night. Kane left Mankind alone to defend the tag titles against the New Age Outlaws. The September In Your House happened with Steve Austin versus Kane versus The Undertaker for the WWF Championship, while Mankind wrestled Ken Shamrock and The Rock, 2 up-and-comers going into the main event picture in a steel cage match. The October In Your House saw Undertaker versus Kane wrestle for the vacant WWF title with Steve Austin as a special guest referee. And Mankind wrestled Ken Shamrock for the Intercontinental title. And then Survivor Series happened, right? Where you saw Rock and Mankind in the finals, and Rock became the corporate Rock. And 1999 was coming with a whole new look for the Attitude Era. We would see Undertaker and Kane tag up for a bit in 1998, thus not staying tagged up for long, for Undertaker would turn on Kane and become a villain, a bad guy, where Kane would be in between still, unsure of where he belonged. He ended up getting cheered, but he ended up getting, manipulated by the McMahon family and to join the corporation. Kane would eventually end that at WrestleMania 15 when he became a babyface by default because, as you all know, Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Chyna became the heels when they turned on X-Pac in his match with Shane McMahon. So X-Pac befriended Kane, and there you had it. Kane was now a good guy in the wrestling business. So that was the history of WrestleMania 14, with a lot of vital characters that we can talk about. Let's be honest now. WrestleMania 14 was maybe one of the most impactful WrestleManias of all time. It was a changing of the guard. You didn't have Bret Hitman Hart at this event. You definitely didn't have Hulk Hogan at this event. He hasn't been on a WrestleMania for years. But you saw this new attitude, no pun intended, with the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin, as he kind of stamped his way into that spot by giving Shawn Michaels, a guy who was around during the Hogan era, a guy who was around during the New Generation era, he kind of sent him packing because Stone Cold Steve Austin said, it is now time for the Attitude Era. And he would go on to main event WrestleMania 15 against The Rock, and WrestleMania 17 against The Rock. Stone Cold Steve Austin definitely was the example of what the Attitude Era was. And it's a shame that someone like Shawn Michaels, who had so much attitude in the New Generation era, couldn't really show that during the era that he was most suited for. Shawn Michaels would come back wrestling at SummerSlam 2002 in the Ruthless Aggression era against his good time buddy, Triple H. So we never saw Shawn and Steve wrestle each other again. We would see Mike Tyson show up again years later on a Raw. I think it was in 2009. And he tagged with the Generation X. He was with DX. I think it was a weird 6-man tag or something. That's when they were having special guest hosts on Monday Night Raw at the time, and Mike Tyson was one of them. But 1998 was a very critical, crucial year for the WWF. It really got things steamrolling. It changed the atmosphere for wrestling, the WWF in general, everything. It was just a really fun time. I was 17 years old in 1998 for the most part. My birthday's in November, so I don't turn 18 till the last 2 months. But I was 17 for the majority of 1998. So the majority of all that was just fun and amazing to see. I was just a teenager enjoying it, playing with the BCA figures. I still had them then. I was still collecting them, playing with them. I didn't care. It was fun. I got to relive what I was seeing on TV every Monday, and couldn't wait for the following Monday to watch it again. So that's my look back at WrestleMania 14. What did you guys think of it? Were you a fan of it? Did you enjoy it? I'll tell you one thing that I don't enjoy about WrestleMania 14, and that is when you get the WWE DVDs. Anything that has the scratch logo, whether it be a T-shirt or just the logo in general somewhere, it gets blurred out. And luckily, I believe at the 1998 WrestleMania, the turnbuckle pads were still the old WWF logo like that. So they didn't get blurred out. For some reason, that doesn't get blurred out, if I remember correctly. But the scratch logo does, and I don't know why. But as time went on those DVDs, it got worse, right? WrestleMania 15 and 16 and 17. Oh, man, they're tough to sit through because it's just blurred, blur all the time. And it's a shame now that they have the rights to that they just never re-released the DVD sets without the blurs, but I get why they didn't, because no one buys DVDs anymore. That's what the WWE seems to think, but I think they definitely lost out on releasing videos for everyone to collect. because I know a lot of people still do, and they're kind of missing out. But yeah, back to WrestleMania 14. What did you guys think? Did you like it? Were you a fan of it? Did the right man win that night? Would you have wanted to see Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Mike Tyson instead? You know, maybe. That might have been interesting on paper to see, or in fictional belief, but maybe the outcome, what you were seeing in real time, may have not been the best, right? So maybe it was the right to go with Austin and Michaels, who, by the way, Shawn Michaels was banged up going into that event. He wasn't even 100% apparently. But that also could have just been a work that Shawn was doing because he didn't want to drop the belt to Steve. Who knows, right? He's Shawn Michaels. All right, guys. Thanks for watching this one. Leave a comment below what you liked about WrestleMania 14. And, I mean, like I said, I thought it was cool. It was definitely has its rightful spot in this, in the history of WrestleMania and the history of wrestling. It was a changing of the guard with Stone Cold Steve Austin becoming the new WWF World Champion at WrestleMania 14. All right, guys. I hope you see this video. If you do, it means my new SD card in my phone is working. I had some issues with the one I had in there. It wasn't working. I mentioned that in an older video I did about a few days ago. So I got a new one in. My phone seems to be working fine right now. So if this gets uploaded to YouTube, you will know my SD card is working just fine. If it doesn't, then I don't even know why I'm talking, because you're not going to hear this, right? Oh, well. All right, guys. Until I do my next one, I'll talk to you later.